Hello, everyone. For years, Bishop Herman Murray has been one of the most electrifying, outspoken, and fiercely committed voices in Pentecostal and holiness circles. A man whose sermons could shake an entire congregation to its core, and whose leadership at Full Gospel Holy Temple stood as a continuation of his grandfather Apostle Lobius Murray's formidable legacy. Yet despite his unmistakable presence in the pulpit, he remained noticeably silent on a growing list of questions, controversies, shifts in church culture, and rumors swirling around him, until now, when he finally steps forward to address everything that's been building beneath the surface. Bishop Murray's trademark intensity, bold stances on moral issues, and unapologetic defense of old-school holiness teaching have made him a lightning rod for both admiration and criticism, with supporters praising his unshakable commitment to biblical standards and detractors challenging his strictness, his resistance to modern compromises, and the enormous responsibility that comes with leading a multi-generational church empire. Yet throughout all of it, he rarely responded directly to the noise. For years, as social media opinions grew louder, as former members posted testimonies and perspectives online, as debates over holiness doctrine intensified, and as younger generations questioned the future of traditional Pentecostal institutions, Bishop Murray chose silence, letting his sermons speak instead of issuing statements, interviews, or clarifications. But that silence created even more curiosity. Why did a man so dynamic behind the pulpit remain so guarded outside of it? Why did he refuse to comment on shifts happening within the church world, the pressures facing religious leaders today, or the wave of public challenges that many pastors now address openly? Now, for the first time, Bishop Herman Murray is breaking that silence, not in anger, not in retaliation, but in a moment of clarity where he explains the weight he carries, the decisions he's had to make quietly, and the personal and spiritual battles he has faced behind closed doors. In this revealing turn, he speaks about the challenges of inheriting a powerful legacy while maintaining his own identity, the emotional toll of leading a large congregation through social upheaval, cultural change, and internal expectations, and the reality that leadership often requires suffering silently to protect the people you serve. He addresses the assumptions about him, the misconceptions surrounding his firmness, and the pressure of upholding traditional holiness standards in a world that constantly pushes pastors toward compromise, popularity, and political correctness. For the first time, he opens up about the burden of being misunderstood, of seeing snippets of his sermons circulated without context, of watching people misinterpret conviction as cruelty, and of carrying the responsibility his grandfather once carried, knowing that the world today is far less forgiving, far more skeptical, and infinitely more vocal. His words reveal a man caught between two eras: the old church that valued discipline, sacrifice, and spiritual authority, and the modern world that demands transparency, relatability, and constant online engagement. He admits the internal struggle of wanting to protect the sacredness of ministry while recognizing that silence can sometimes be mistaken for weakness or guilt. And yet, through his explanation, it becomes clear that Bishop Murray's silence was never about hiding. It was about timing, discernment, and the belief that every leader must choose carefully when to speak and when to simply stand firm. As he finally breaks his silence, he clarifies the heart behind his ministry, the purpose behind his intensity, the compassion behind his firmness, and the vision he carries for the next generation of believers. What emerges is a portrait of a man who has been misunderstood not because he is distant, but because he carries the kind of weight few people will ever understand. A leader navigating spiritual responsibility, generational expectations, and the relentless scrutiny of a digital age. And in hearing him speak openly at last, the public sees a different side of Bishop Herman Murray. Not just the fiery preacher, but the human being, the steward of a legacy, and the man who has been quietly fighting battles most people never knew existed. His silence has finally ended, and with his voice now on the record, the conversation around him, his ministry, and his future will never be the same. Thanks for watching.